Welcome back to the English Hour, everyone. I'm so glad you're joining us again. Today, we've got a really special episode lined up. I'm here with Jacob once again, and we're diving deep into the topic of resilience. It's something we all need, but it often feels so elusive, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Sophia. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about growth. It's like the human ability to stretch, bend, and evolve through tough times without breaking.
I love that. So, let's start by asking, what does resilience mean to you, Jacob?
For me, it's not about being strong all the time or pretending like things are fine when they're not. It's about allowing myself to feel, to process, and then find a way to keep moving forward. It's okay to stumble. It's about getting back up, but on your own terms.
I love that perspective. It's not about being invincible, it's about being human, accepting our vulnerability, and finding our inner strength.
Exactly. So many people think resilience is this constant state of toughness, but I've learned that it's more about persistence and self-compassion. It's like you're building your emotional muscles by working through pain, not pretending it's not there.
You're right. It's often easier said than done, though. How do you personally bounce back when life throws something heavy your way?
It's taken me a long time to figure out my own process. Sometimes it's taking a step back, breathing, and just acknowledging how I feel. Other times, it's talking to someone I trust, having someone listen without judgment. And there are times when I have to be alone with my thoughts, write in a journal, or meditate to work through it.
It sounds like you've got your own toolkit for resilience. Everyone's process is different, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, we each have our own ways of finding peace in chaos. Some people lean into exercise, others into creativity. Some find solace in nature. The important thing is that we allow ourselves to discover what helps us stay grounded.
I totally agree. For me, I've found that writing is a huge part of my healing process. When life feels overwhelming, writing helps me make sense of it all. It's like creating order in the middle of the storm.
That's powerful. And I think resilience isn't just about recovery, it's about building inner confidence. When you face challenges and survive them, you learn to trust that you can handle whatever comes next.
Trusting yourself is huge. And, for a lot of people, that's something they have to learn over time. For me, it took a lot of failures, a lot of falling down, and getting back up to realize I could rely on myself, even in the most uncertain moments.
Yeah, the process of failing forward is key. It's how we grow. Sometimes, we don't realize how strong we are until we're forced to be.
Exactly. And I think the world often pressures us to be perfect. But resilience is about learning through imperfections. Every time you fall, you're learning how to stand up stronger. It's not about avoiding pain, it's about transforming it.
So true. There's beauty in resilience. It's like a diamond being formed under pressure. Our experiences shape us, but they don't break us. They polish us.
That's such a beautiful analogy, Jacob. It's like we're all works in progress, and sometimes the hardest times create the most profound transformations.
And resilience is not a destination. It's a practice. Some days we may feel like we've got it all figured out, and other days, we're back to square one. But that's the process, right?
Absolutely. It's about showing up for yourself, even on the days when you feel like you're not enough. Just keep moving forward, even if it's only one step at a time.
And know that it's okay to not have it all together. Resilience isn't about being perfect. It's about continuing to try, even when it feels impossible.
So, Jacob, if you could give one piece of advice to someone going through a tough time, what would it be?
I'd say, you're not alone, and it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to carry the weight by yourself. Resilience doesn't mean doing it all on your own. It's about finding the strength to lean on others when you need to.
That's beautiful advice. And I'd add, take it one day at a time. You're doing the best you can, and that's enough.
Well said. And remember, growth isn't always linear. Some days you'll take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. But that's okay. The most important thing is to keep going.
Yes, exactly. And with that, I think we've covered so much ground today. Resilience isn't about avoiding hardship, it's about how we rise through it.
Exactly. And every person has their own path to resilience, but it's always worth the journey.
Thank you, Jacob, for such an insightful conversation today. I think this episode will resonate with so many people.
It's been my pleasure, Sophia. Thanks for having me.
And to everyone listening, remember you're stronger than you think. Keep showing up for yourself. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time with another meaningful conversation.
Take care, everyone.
Bye for now. You know, Jacob, while we're on the subject of resilience, I've been thinking about how it's not just something we apply in our personal lives, but also in our professional lives. Like when you face a setback at work, how do you bounce back?
That's a great point. Professionally, I think resilience is about maintaining your focus, even when things aren't going according to plan. It's about seeing obstacles as opportunities for growth. When things don't go right, I try to focus on what I can learn from it, rather than dwelling on the mistake. But, of course, it's easier said than done, right?
Absolutely. In a work environment, there's often this pressure to always be at your best, to never show weakness. But I think vulnerability can actually be a form of resilience too. When you show that you're willing to learn and grow, it can be a powerful way to overcome challenges.
I agree. Sometimes admitting that you don't know everything, that you need help, is the most resilient thing you can do. It allows others to step in, offer support, and contribute to your growth. I think that's a strength, not a weakness.
It's true. And I think that's where teamwork plays a huge role in resilience. It's like having a support system that helps you stay afloat when the waters get rough.
Exactly, in a team, resilience isn't just individual, it's collective. When one person struggles, the whole team can step in to help out. It's about lifting each other up, making sure that no one has to go through it alone.
I love that perspective. Teamwork really is key, and in the workplace, it's also about understanding that setbacks don't define us. It's how we respond to them that shows our true character.
Right. I think resilience in the workplace is also about maintaining optimism. When things get tough, it's easy to fall into a negative mindset. But if you can stay positive, or at least stay grounded, you create space for solutions to emerge.
Yes, staying grounded is so important. That's when the best ideas come. When you feel like you're drowning in challenges, sometimes the answer is just to take a step back, breathe, and approach the problem with a fresh perspective.
That's a solid point. Sometimes we get so caught up in trying to fix the problem immediately that we forget to take a moment to process everything. It's okay to pause, to step away and gain some clarity. It actually helps us come back stronger.
That reminds me of how we're often told to push through challenges. But, honestly, I think taking that pause is just as important. Resilience isn't just about pushing harder, it's also about knowing when to take a step back and recharge.
Yes, exactly. And you mentioned earlier about self-compassion. I think that's a huge part of resilience, especially in the workplace. We're often our harshest critics, but it's so important to be kind to ourselves when we make mistakes. It's okay to not have all the answers.
Definitely. And I think when we stop being so hard on ourselves, we create space for improvement. The growth happens when we stop viewing setbacks as failures and start seeing them as learning experiences.
That's a mindset shift right there. Instead of viewing a failure as a dead end, we can start seeing it as a lesson, a way to get closer to where we want to be.
And that's something I feel really passionate about, changing the way we view challenges. When you stop fearing failure and start embracing it, you open yourself up to new possibilities.
Exactly. The fear of failure can be paralyzing, but when you stop letting it control you, you're able to take risks, explore new ideas, and ultimately grow. It's about seeing each challenge as an opportunity for transformation.
I love that. And I think when people understand that resilience is about transformation, it becomes a much more empowering experience. It's not about enduring the pain. It's about using it to fuel something better.
Yeah, it's all about that forward movement. And, I've seen this in so many people around me. I've witnessed firsthand how people who face real hardship can still find ways to thrive because they don't give up. They choose to rise, and that's where the magic happens.
That's so powerful. Resilience isn't just surviving the storm, it's about learning to dance in the rain. You find ways to adapt and grow, no matter what the world throws at you.
That's the spirit. And I think the more we normalize resilience, the more we encourage others to be resilient too. It creates a ripple effect where more people feel empowered to face their own challenges.
Yes, I think that's the ultimate takeaway. Resilience isn't something we keep to ourselves. It's something we share, we inspire in others, and we build together. When we rise, we help others rise.
Exactly. It's not just about me or you, it's about us. And the more we embrace that, the stronger we become as individuals and as communities.
Absolutely. This conversation has been so enlightening. I hope everyone listening today takes away the message that they don't have to go through life's challenges alone. We all have the strength to keep going, even when things seem impossible.
And remember, it's okay to ask for help. Resilience isn't about facing everything on your own, it's about leaning on others when you need to and finding your strength together.
That's a beautiful note to end on, Jacob. Thanks so much for being here and sharing your thoughts with all of us.
Thanks for having me, Sophia. It's always a pleasure.
And thank you to everyone listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep being resilient, keep growing, and take care of yourselves.
Take care, everyone.
Bye for now. Before we wrap up completely, Jacob, I wanted to ask you something else. Since we've been talking about resilience and challenges, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out and feels overwhelmed by everything?
That's a great question. My first piece of advice would be start small. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're trying to take on everything at once. Break your goals into manageable pieces and focus on one thing at a time. That way, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment with each small victory, and that will build your confidence.
I love that. I think we all tend to look at the big picture and forget that every journey starts with small steps. How about mindset? Any tips on shifting the mindset from being overwhelmed to feeling more in control?
Absolutely. One powerful mindset shift I'd recommend is to start viewing setbacks as part of the process, not as the end. When things don't go as planned, instead of thinking, this isn't working, think, this is part of the learning process. I'm getting closer. That shift in thinking makes all the difference.
That's so true. It's all about reframing those tough moments. What about the people around you? Do you think surrounding yourself with the right kind of people helps with resilience?
100%. The people you surround yourself with can really impact your mindset. Having a supportive network, people who encourage you when you're feeling down, can make resilience so much easier. It's like they act as mirrors, reflecting back your strengths even when you're not seeing them yourself.
That's such an important point. I think sometimes we forget how much influence the right people can have on our lives. It's like they remind us of our potential, even when we're struggling to see it ourselves.
Exactly. And it's not just about being surrounded by positive people, but people who are also going through challenges. You can learn a lot from people who are facing similar struggles and pushing through. It creates a sense of community and understanding.
That sense of community is invaluable, isn't it? It's comforting to know that you're not alone, that others are out there facing their own challenges and working through them.
Yes, it creates a shared experience, and it shows that resilience doesn't mean you have to face everything in isolation. There's strength in numbers. It's a reminder that we're all human, and we all go through tough times. But we don't have to carry those burdens alone.
I think that's something we all need to remember. Resilience is about connection, too, not just individual strength. And that connection can help us keep going, even when we feel like giving up.
Absolutely. And to anyone listening right now who might be feeling that way, just know that it's okay to take things one step at a time. Be kind to yourself, and remember that every small step forward counts. Resilience doesn't look the same for everyone, but it's always there.
That's such a powerful message, Jacob. Thank you for sharing your insights. You've really helped us all reframe how we approach challenges and resilience today.
It's been a pleasure, Sophia. Thank you for having me. And for everyone listening, just remember you've got this. Even when it feels tough, you have the strength to keep going.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we've covered a lot of ground. I hope everyone feels inspired and empowered after today's conversation. Thank you all for tuning in, and remember to keep pushing forward, no matter what challenges come your way.
Stay strong, everyone.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye for now.
Before we wrap up, Jacob, there's something I've been thinking about. What do you think is the most important thing people can do to stay motivated during difficult times? I know that motivation can sometimes fade. So how can someone keep that fire burning?
That's such a great question, Sophia. One thing I've learned is that motivation isn't something you just wait for, it's something you actively build. When things are tough, try to remind yourself of why you started in the first place. Revisit your goals, your why. And sometimes just taking one small action can spark that motivation again.
That's so true. Taking even the smallest step can reignite that sense of purpose. It's like once you start moving, you build momentum, right?
Exactly. It's the snowball effect. When you take that small action, it often leads to bigger actions. And over time, you'll look back and realize just how much progress you've made, even on the toughest days.
That's such a powerful idea. I think people often forget how much progress happens quietly, bit by bit. They focus on the big picture and forget to celebrate those small wins along the way.
Yes, the small wins are everything. Celebrating them gives you that sense of accomplishment and keeps you going. It's also important to be patient with yourself. Don't expect to see massive results overnight.
Patience is key, isn't it? In a world where we're always looking for instant results, patience is one of the hardest things to practice.
Definitely. But when you embrace patience, you also embrace the journey. And the journey is where all the growth happens. It's not just about the destination, it's about who you become in the process.
I love that. It's about the person you're becoming, not just the goal itself. What would you say to someone who feels like they're not making enough progress, even though they've been putting in the effort?
I'd tell them to look back at where they started and give themselves credit. Sometimes we're so focused on the future that we forget how far we've already come. Every step counts, even if it feels small. Progress is progress, no matter how slow.
That's such an important reminder. We're often our own toughest critics, and it's easy to overlook our own achievements. So taking the time to reflect on how far we've come can really help us appreciate the journey.
Absolutely. And also, sometimes progress isn't as visible as we think. Even if you're not seeing immediate results, the work you're doing now is laying the foundation for future success. Trust the process.
Trusting the process is so important. I think a lot of people get frustrated when they don't see quick results. But as you said, things are happening behind the scenes. What about mindset? How can we shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset when we face setbacks?
A great question. A growth mindset is all about embracing challenges as opportunities to learn, not as failures. When something doesn't work out, instead of thinking, I can't do this, think, what can I learn from this experience? That shift helps you grow, not just in skill, but in resilience too.
That's a beautiful mindset shift. It's all about reframing challenges, isn't it? Seeing them not as obstacles, but as chances to get better.
Exactly, every setback is a lesson. When you start seeing mistakes as part of the learning process, you'll be less afraid to fail and more willing to take risks. And that's when real growth happens.
I completely agree. And sometimes, those lessons are what prepare us for even bigger challenges ahead. It's all part of the journey.
Absolutely. And when you have that mindset, you start to realize that failure isn't something to fear, it's a stepping stone to success.
I think this conversation is going to leave a lot of people feeling motivated and ready to tackle their own challenges. Jacob, thank you for sharing your wisdom today. It's been such an insightful discussion.
Thank you, Sophia. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope everyone listening feels encouraged to keep pushing forward.
I'm sure they will. And to everyone tuning in, remember small steps, a growth mindset, and celebrating your progress are all keys to moving forward. Keep going. And never forget that every effort you put in matters.
You've got this, everyone.
And with that, it's time to wrap up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring conversations like this one. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Before we wrap up, Jacob, there's something I've been thinking about. What do you think is the most important thing people can do to stay motivated during difficult times? I know that motivation can sometimes fade. So how can someone keep that fire burning?
That's such a great question, Sophia. One thing I've learned is that motivation isn't something you just wait for. It's something you actively build. When things are tough, try to remind yourself of why you started in the first place. Revisit your goals, your why. And sometimes just taking one small action can spark that motivation again.
That's so true. Taking even the smallest step can reignite that sense of purpose. It's like once you start moving, you build momentum, right?
Exactly, it's the snowball effect. When you take that small action, it often leads to bigger actions. And over time, you'll look back and realize just how much progress you've made, even on the toughest days.
That's such a powerful idea. I think people often forget how much progress happens quietly, bit by bit. They focus on the big picture and forget to celebrate those small wins along the way.
Yes, the small wins are everything. Celebrating them gives you that sense of accomplishment and keeps you going. It's also important to be patient with yourself. Don't expect to see massive results overnight.
Patience is key, isn't it? In a world where we're always looking for instant results, patience is one of the hardest things to practice.
Definitely. But when you embrace patience, you also embrace the journey. And the journey is where all the growth happens. It's not just about the destination, it's about who you become in the process.
I love that. It's about the person you're becoming, not just the goal itself. What would you say to someone who feels like they're not making enough progress, even though they've been putting in the effort?
I'd tell them to look back at where they started and give themselves credit. Sometimes we're so focused on the future that we forget how far we've already come. Every step counts, even if it feels small. Progress is progress, no matter how slow.
That's such an important reminder. We're often our own toughest critics, and it's easy to overlook our own achievements. So taking the time to reflect on how far we've come can really help us appreciate the journey.
Absolutely. And also, sometimes progress isn't as visible as we think. Even if you're not seeing immediate results, the work you're doing now is laying the foundation for future success. Trust the process.
Trusting the process is so important. I think a lot of people get frustrated when they don't see quick results. But as you said, things are happening behind the scenes. What about mindset? How can we shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset when we face setbacks?
A great question. A growth mindset is all about embracing challenges as opportunities to learn, not as failures. When something doesn't work out, instead of thinking, I can't do this, think, what can I learn from this experience? That shift helps you grow, not just in skill, but in resilience too.
That's a beautiful mindset shift. It's all about reframing challenges, isn't it? Seeing them not as obstacles, but as chances to get better.
Exactly, every setback is a lesson. When you start seeing mistakes as part of the learning process, you'll be less afraid to fail and more willing to take risks. And that's when real growth happens.
I completely agree. And sometimes, those lessons are what prepare us for even bigger challenges ahead. It's all part of the journey.
Absolutely. And when you have that mindset, you start to realize that failure isn't something to fear, it's a stepping stone to success.
I think this conversation is going to leave a lot of people feeling motivated and ready to tackle their own challenges. Jacob, thank you for sharing your wisdom today. It's been such an insightful discussion.
Thank you, Sophia. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope everyone listening feels encouraged to keep pushing forward.
I'm sure they will. And to everyone tuning in, remember small steps, a growth mindset, and celebrating your progress are all keys to moving forward. Keep going. And never forget that every effort you put in matters.
You've got this, everyone.
And with that, it's time to wrap up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring conversations like this one. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Before we finish up, Jacob, there's one last thing I want to ask. Sometimes, life throws curveballs at us, and we can't control everything that happens. How do you suggest people stay grounded when things don't go as planned?
That's a really important point, Sophia. Staying grounded is all about accepting that we can't control everything. Life is unpredictable. The key is focusing on what you can control, like your reactions, your attitude, and your actions. Even in tough situations, you have the power to choose how you respond.
I love that idea. It's not about trying to control every detail, but about focusing on what you can control, your mindset and actions. It's empowering, isn't it?
Exactly. When you focus on the present moment and what you can do right now, you'll find that the stress of things you can't control starts to lessen. It's all about being proactive instead of reactive.
I think that's something everyone can relate to. It's so easy to get caught up in worrying about what might happen next. But grounding yourself in the present is a powerful way to cope with uncertainty.
Absolutely. And remember, it's okay to take breaks when things get overwhelming. Sometimes, stepping back and taking a breather can give you the clarity you need to move forward.
That's a great point. Sometimes we push ourselves too hard and forget to rest. Taking a step back isn't a sign of weakness. It's a way of regaining strength.
Exactly. We're not meant to keep going nonstop. Life is about balance. And when you take the time to rest, you give yourself the opportunity to come back stronger and more focused.
I think that balance is something a lot of people overlook. We talk so much about productivity, but rest and recovery are just as important.
Without a doubt, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving without taking the time to recharge, you'll burn out. So, make sure to prioritize your well-being and give yourself permission to rest.
That's something I think we all need to hear. We're all so focused on achieving. But sometimes the best way to move forward is to slow down and take care of ourselves.
Absolutely. The road to success isn't a race, it's a journey. And sometimes, the best way to keep moving forward is to allow yourself the time and space to recharge.
That's such a valuable reminder, Jacob. I think it's something we could all use, especially in today's fast-paced world. Thanks for sharing that perspective.
Anytime, Sophia. It's all about finding balance and listening to what you need. When you do that, everything else falls into place.
So true. I think this episode has been full of great advice for anyone feeling a little lost or overwhelmed. It's all about taking it one step at a time and trusting the process.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to ask for help when you need it too. We don't have to do everything alone.
Such an important point. Sometimes, reaching out to others is exactly what we need to regain perspective and get the support we deserve. Thanks again for being here today, Jacob. It's been such a great conversation.
My pleasure, Sophia. It's been wonderful chatting with you.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us today. Remember, balance, rest, and being kind to yourself are key to making progress. Keep going. Take it one step at a time, and take care of yourselves.
We'll catch you next time.
Until then, stay grounded, stay positive, and keep moving forward. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next episode. Before we wrap up, Jacob, is there anything you would like to add for our listeners? Maybe something to inspire them as they face challenges in their daily lives.
Sure, Sophia. I'd like to remind everyone that progress doesn't always look like a straight line. Sometimes, the biggest growth from the setbacks and challenges we face. So, even when things aren't going as planned, trust that you're learning, evolving, and moving forward in ways you might not even realize yet.
I love that. It's so true. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go perfectly, but every experience, good or bad, shapes who we are and what we can become.
Exactly. And the beauty of life is that you always have the chance to start over, learn from the past, and try again. Each day is a new opportunity to be better than yesterday, and every small step counts.
And that's such an empowering thought. No matter where we are in life, we're always in control of our next step. Thanks for sharing that, Jacob.
Of course, I think we all need reminders that even on tough days, we're moving forward in ways we might not see right away. It's all part of the journey.
Absolutely. And speaking of journeys, let's talk about the importance of reflection for a moment. How do you personally make time to reflect on your progress, especially when life gets hectic?
Reflection is so important. For me, I try to carve out time every evening to just sit quietly and think about the day. What went well? What didn't? What can I do differently tomorrow? It doesn't have to be long, just a few minutes of introspection can help me refocus and stay grounded.
That's such a great habit. I think sometimes we're so focused on moving forward that we forget to pause and reflect on the journey we've already taken.
Exactly. Reflection gives us clarity. It's easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle, but taking a moment to check in with ourselves helps us stay aligned with our values and goals.
And it's a great way to celebrate even the small wins, right? Sometimes, we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we accomplish each day.
Absolutely. Recognizing the little victories, whether it's completing a task, having a meaningful conversation, or simply getting through the day, can help build momentum and keep us motivated.
I agree. Celebrating the small wins reminds us that we're making progress, even when the big goals seem far away.
That's right, it's all about staying in the moment, appreciating what we've done, and remembering that every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress.
That's such a powerful message to leave our listeners with today. No matter where you are, no matter what challenges you're facing, every step counts. Keep pushing forward, celebrate the wins, and keep reflecting on how far you've come.
Absolutely. And remember, progress isn't always linear, but it's always happening. Even when it feels like you're stuck, you're still growing and learning.
Well said, Jacob. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show today. I'm sure our listeners will take so much away from this conversation.
Thanks so much for having me, Sophia. I've really enjoyed our chat.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us today. We hope you feel inspired to reflect, celebrate the small victories, and keep moving forward on your own journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone. Stay strong and keep growing.
Until next time. Before we end, Jacob, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners about maintaining motivation, especially when life gets tough?
Definitely, I'd say that motivation is something we all struggle with from time to time. It's easy to feel like you've lost your drive, but sometimes motivation isn't something you find, it's something you create. Set small, achievable goals for yourself and keep checking them off. That sense of accomplishment can reignite your energy and motivation.
That's so true. Setting those small goals helps break down big tasks into manageable pieces, and it makes progress feel more attainable, doesn't it?
Exactly. When you're feeling overwhelmed by a large project, just think about what you can do today. Focus on small steps and celebrate each one. It'll keep you moving forward without feeling crushed by the weight of the bigger picture.
I think it's all about shifting your perspective from, I need to do everything, to, what can I do today to get closer to my goal? That mindset makes everything seem less daunting.
Absolutely. And remember, it's okay if you don't have everything figured out right now. The important thing is to keep going and not to let setbacks hold you back. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow.
That's such a refreshing take, Jacob. I think so many of us feel pressure to have it all figured out. But really, we're all figuring it out as we go along.
Yep, that's the reality of life. None of us have all the answers, and that's perfectly fine. The key is to keep learning, experimenting, and adapting along the way.
Exactly. Life is a series of lessons and growth. And sometimes, even the challenges we face lead to some of the greatest discoveries about ourselves.
For sure. It's all part of the process. Sometimes the most unexpected twists in life end up being the most rewarding.
I love that. Life's journey is about embracing the unexpected, and even when things don't go as planned, you can still find value and meaning in the experience.
100%. And of course, it's important to remind yourself to be kind during those moments. No one else is going to be as patient with you as you should be with yourself.
That's one of the best pieces of advice I think we can give our listeners today. Be patient with yourself. You don't have to have all the answers, and it's okay to take your time.
Exactly. And even if things don't look perfect on the outside, remember that everyone's behind the scenes journey is different. Embrace your path and honor your pace.
Such wise words, Jacob. It's been so uplifting having this conversation with you today. You've shared so many valuable insights with our listeners.
Thanks, Sophia. It's been such a great discussion, and I hope it inspires people to keep pushing forward, one small step at a time.
Absolutely. I'm sure it will. Thanks to all of you for joining us today. Remember, you're doing great no matter where you are in your journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more uplifting conversations. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Stay motivated, stay grounded, and take care of yourselves. Until next time.
See you soon. Before we end today's episode, Jacob, what's your advice for someone who feels stuck or lost in their journey? How can they break free from that feeling?
That's a great question, Sophia. If you're feeling stuck, sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back and reassess. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Or what brings me joy? Sometimes when we get too focused on external expectations, we forget to tune into what's truly important to us. Taking some time to reconnect with your passions can spark a whole new perspective.
I love that idea, taking a step back to reflect. It's easy to get caught up in what you think you should be doing, rather than what you genuinely want to do.
Exactly. When we feel stuck, it's often because we're too focused on the destination and not enough on the process or the journey itself. Maybe it's time to explore new things, try something different, and see where that leads.
Sometimes, that change in perspective is all we need to reignite our spark. And even if things don't go perfectly, just trying something new can lead to unexpected discoveries. Right?
Absolutely. Even if it's just a small shift or a new activity, it can create a domino effect that leads to positive changes. The key is to be open to growth and not be afraid to step outside your comfort zone.
Stepping outside your comfort zone can be intimidating, but it's where all the growth happens, right?
That's right. It's uncomfortable, but that discomfort is often a sign that you're moving forward. Growth never happens in a place of comfort. It happens when we challenge ourselves.
And that's something I think everyone can relate to. We've all had those moments where we had to take a leap of faith and trust ourselves, even when it felt risky.
Exactly. And even if you fail or stumble, that's part of the process too. Failures are just lessons in disguise. They help us refine our path and become more resilient.
I couldn't agree more. Failure is just another step on the way to success. It teaches you what works and what doesn't.
Right? And the best part is that you don't have to do it alone. Surround yourself with people who inspire and encourage you. And don't be afraid to reach out when you need support.
That's such an important point. Having a strong support system can make all the difference, especially when you're feeling down or uncertain.
Absolutely. We all need someone to lean on, whether it's a friend, family member, or even a mentor. They can offer perspective, encouragement, and help you see things from a different angle.
And sometimes, just talking things out with someone can help you see a way forward. I think a lot of people forget the power of sharing their thoughts and feelings with others.
It's so true. Sometimes we bottle things up thinking that we have to figure it all out on our own, but opening up can be incredibly freeing. You never know what insights you'll get from someone else's perspective.
Exactly. And you're right, there's no need to go through struggles alone. We all need that human connection and the wisdom that others can bring.
That's why I love having these kinds of conversations. They remind us that we're all in this together, and there's always something to learn from one another.
Absolutely, Jacob. This conversation has been so insightful. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you for having me, Sophia. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and your listeners. I hope everyone takes something positive from today's episode.
I'm sure they will. And to all of you listening, remember that you are never alone in your journey. Keep pushing forward, take those small steps, and most importantly, be kind to yourself along the way.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Sophia. Take care, everyone, and keep moving forward, no matter how small the steps may seem.
Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more uplifting episodes. Until next time, take care and keep growing.
Bye for now, everyone.
Before we go, Jacob, do you have any final thoughts or words of encouragement for anyone out there who's facing a challenge they feel is insurmountable?
Yes, I do. If you're facing a challenge that seems impossible, remember this: every obstacle you face is an opportunity to grow and learn something new. It might not be easy, but keep in mind that no mountain is too high to climb. Break it down into smaller, manageable steps and take it one at a time. Sometimes the hardest part is just getting started.
That's such a great point. It's so easy to get overwhelmed when you look at the entire challenge at once. But when you break it down into pieces, it feels more achievable.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it, whether it's a mentor, a friend, or a community. There's always someone out there who's been where you are and can offer valuable advice or just a listening ear.
That's so true. And I think the support you get along the way makes the journey that much more meaningful. You don't have to do everything by yourself.
Absolutely. It's about building a network of people who lift you up. And just remember, challenges don't last forever, but the lessons you learn from them stick with you for a lifetime.
What a powerful reminder, Jacob. And those lessons are what shape us and help us become stronger, better versions of ourselves.
Exactly. Each challenge is just a stepping stone towards becoming the person you're meant to be. Keep your head high and your heart open.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Keep your heart open, your head up, and just keep moving forward no matter what.
That's the key. Don't be afraid of setbacks or slow progress. Just keep moving. Progress is progress, no matter how small.
It's all about progress, not perfection. And I think that's something everyone can take away from today's conversation.
Absolutely, Sophia. And I really appreciate being here to share these thoughts with you and your listeners. It's been a great conversation.
The pleasure's been all mine, Jacob. You've shared so many insightful ideas today, and I'm sure our listeners will walk away feeling inspired and motivated.
I hope so. And I hope anyone who's been struggling will know that they're not alone and they have the power within them to overcome whatever they're facing.
Well said. So to everyone listening, take those words to heart. You have everything you need within you. Keep pushing forward. And remember, you're capable of so much more than you realize.
Stay strong, everyone. The road may be tough, but you've got this.
Thanks again, Jacob, for joining us today. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more episodes. Until next time, take care and keep growing.
Take care, everyone.